blame, you mad it.
I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm middle P. How to get myself up back before the bull run. How to take some shit, stick it in the ballroom. I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm middle P. How to get myself up back before the bull run. How to take some shit, stick it in the ballroom. E-pop got me waiting 3 more hours. Sticking all these years higher than a tower. Having all these nodes feel like superpowers. Investing all this bread, never been a coward. Call me Mr. Bond, money in the vault. I stay in the front, feeling like the goal. Don't worry about the haters, got the detonator. I'll kill in every market, call me Terminator. I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm middle P. How to get myself up back before the bull run. Some shit, stick it in the ballroom. I've been getting on my BNB and stacking these. Pairing it with EMP and then I'm middle P. How to get myself up back before the bull run. How to take some shit, stick it in the ballroom.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to EMP Money. My name is AJ, I am the team lead here, and this is our live AMA. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. We have a very special AMA today, and a very long AMA today, so we're going to kind of break it up into 2 sections. And obviously we'll have timestamps afterwards as well. But just preparing everybody that this will be a very involved and long AMA. So grab a drink, hang out, listen to the recording if you need to get all the info. And we have a special guest as well. Before I bring him on, I want to introduce my co-host with the most, LA. LA, how are you today?
I'm good. It's been a jam-packed day full of lots of progress, and we're excited to be here with all you guys and our special guest.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, and that special guest is dexCEO. So, Jake, how are you, brother? Welcome.
I'm good. Boy, you guys do know how to make a guy feel special.
No doubt, bro. We again, for those of you, again, we try to keep everybody in the loop, but we talk with CEO on a daily basis, but we had to bring him on for the AMA today, so we can all 3 kind of give everybody as much info as we can in regards to L1X and L1DEX. So we're going to jump right into that. That will be the beginning part of this AMA, and then we will let Jake go back to building, and then we will continue on with our own stuff. So, LA, I know we had kind of a schedule that we wanted to follow. Do you want to maybe have us go through the GitHub first to kind of give everybody an overview, and then we can, again, ask specifics with Jake and actually, you know, what transpired or what is transpiring. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, perfect. All right, let me pull up the GitHub, and then we'll go through that, and then we'll move on to other stuff. So hang on 1 second. All right, hopefully you guys can all see that on YouTube. And yeah, so let me just start with kind of a quick preface and a quick overview. We had a major announcement today in terms of L1X and going into what they're calling Proof of X or POX or POX phase. And this has come about after, you know, a lot of in-depth discussions with the team. Obviously, I also want to say, you know, we've said it every AMA almost, but we're not part of the L1X team, even though we work closely with them, and I'm going to do my best to be as objective as possible. So some things we may say might be personal views on the situation, but know that everything that we do to move forward is in the best interests of L1DEX and protecting the value and the utility built into L1X like we have from day one. So none of that has changed. Again, we're trying to keep all of you up to date and be as transparent as possible, while again being honest as well. So that being said, let's just kind of roll through the quick overview. The long story short is L1X has decided to push back their launch and actually have a legitimate, true testnet. And this is something that both Jake and I and the rest of the team were really pushing for, and I think is something that has to happen for the successful launch of L1X. And so I guess we'll just go through that and then we'll talk how that relates to the DEX specifically. But LA, you want to read the general questions for me?
Do you mean the top part of the
Yeah,
GitHub?
is that how you want to do it? Yeah, do you want to actually read it or you just want me to kind of paraphrase?
Yeah, I think we just go over the top part, just so everyone's clear, and then we can kind of explain what it means.
Okay. All right. If you don't mind reading just the first general questions, and then Jake and I can follow up with any additional input.
Okay, you were gonna go right to the questions?
No, I'm sorry, of the top of the GitBook, or GitHub rather.
Okay, so the POX phase. So MainNet Beta will be rolled out into a Proof of X, a POX phase, which will be rolled out in early February. The L1X coin token generation event is projected for March 2024. Sorry, there's something really loud driving over my house. One sec. That sounded like the loudest airplane I've ever heard. Sorry.
No worries.
POX phase is aligned to increase the number of nodes and transactions on the network for a healthy consensus mechanism and TGE. The POX phase has been introduced as feedback from exchanges, strategic partners, and advisors, has recommended to strengthen the consensus and more traction with on-chain transactions on the protocol. To align with the objective of a healthy TGE as requested by the community, the number of nodes will be increased along with allowing for a certain number of gasless transactions on the network. The tokenomics have been aligned to support all of these objectives, and these measures are designed to help preserve the short and long-term success of the protocol.
Okay, awesome. I think the issue and why you were confused at the beginning, where are you right now on the GitHub? For some reason, I'm not on the right page.
It's right above where you are on the FAQs. It's called POX phase.
Yeah, I think you're both right. It just the title is called General Questions.
Okay. All right.
No, that's just on the next tab, where it says FAQs. I'm on the tab above it where it says POX phase, which is like the general description of everything first.
Yep, we're much better now. All right, I think I found it. Sorry guys, we're not professional YouTubers here. I always screw things up when I have to screen share. So, all right. I mean, I think that was a great overview. Again, pretty concise and to the point. I mean, I guess this would be a good segue into, Jake, if you want to chime in. I mean, we've been trying to, convey to L1X that really, with all layer ones, especially, new ones, it is so important that we have a public testnet. And although, we've been able to access the code behind the scenes, there's a big difference between, being able to have a functioning blockchain and pre-development code. So I guess, do you want to kind of speak to that point, Jake? Because that's more your department.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, like you said, this proof of X kind of phase you know, it's something we've been pushing for a long time. You know, I know there's maybe people aren't thrilled with the timing of it, but you know, from a not only a holder, I'm also a holder myself, but from a developer as well, and just for the overall health of the chain, this is actually a really important step, right? And that's for a couple of reasons. First of all, is blockchain security, right? Obviously, you know, launching something brand new is exciting, but you know, if you know, even if the tech is really good and everything goes well, you know, internally with the foundation, right? Like, there's just so many things that could potentially happen, right? You know, without like a real third-party review and multiple people trying different things on the chain, you know, even aside from like an exploit or something like that, there could just be some little weird things that like happen that create errors that slow the chain down and wind up just creating havoc across the board, right? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants, obviously, you know, clearly nobody wants you know, an exploit or anything like that, right? So you know, for safety and security, right? You know, that's kind of our first and foremost. You know, we really were not comfortable, you know, just deploying something that hadn't really been battle tested and third party reviewed, and you know, being able to check gas estimates, and you know, all the things we do are really complex. So you know, without actually being able to like run unit tests on individual transactions and the way things do, you know, things work, you know, it would have been a real stretch for us just to say, okay, here it is, you know, let's deposit millions of dollars into this, right, without thoroughly going through everything and testing, right? So that was kind of top priority for us. But in addition, you know, having, you know, a live test net where people can join in also immensely helps with chain adoption, as well as marketing, right? Chain adoption, you know, again, like AJ mentioned, you know, we have, you know, the ability to kind of deploy contracts locally, right? And it's great. It's a head start from, you know, on everybody. And as much as we'd love to have zero competition in the space, right? You can't really have a blockchain without having, you know, some competition or other projects building, right? So this open testnet, this live testnet, you know, with open source code, basically allows other developers, you know, not just this little closed circuit of launch partners, but now allows everyone to kind of come on and say, okay, I want to build this, or I want to develop on this, right? And that works in multiple different ways, right? Because as you get more adoption, more people coming on saying, oh, this is actually really cool, let's try this out, right? You can actually prove on-chain data, like, you know, this many projects jumped on and they're actually deploying contracts. There's been, you know, this many transactions happening on the testnet for people trying it, right? It not only helps us to verify, you know, that the code's safe and secure and everything's working properly, but it also helps to kind of, you know, snowball effect into more adoption, bigger sponsors, bigger backers, bigger eyeballs, you know, watching the blockchain itself, right? Because we're all, you know, like I said, we're building, but we're all investors as well. So without that adoption, right, like, you know, it's great to say, oh, well, there's high, you know, crazy APR on L1DEX, right? But that can only last for so long, right? Ultimately, we need to create this ecosystem where, you know, people are going to be able to build on it. People will want to experience the tech and use the tech in different ways, you know, ways that we might not even have thought of at this point. And then lastly, it also helps with marketing too, because you know, as I'm sure you guys are all familiar with different airdrop programs and stuff, you know, the foundation, as well as L1DEX, we both have some pretty serious allocations for airdrops. However, the problem is offering airdrops to users that are just using a live version, you know, doesn't really help. It's a lagging indicator. You know, it takes a while for people to get in and start using it. So at that point, you're kind of just giving money away for free, and it's not really building up this anticipation and this marketing hype prior to the release, right? Which is going to hopefully give us that big buy pressure in the beginning. So with the public testnet, we, you know, again, in combination with the foundation, you know, we can start building up not only transactions and the use of the chain, but also our socials, the foundation socials, you know, offering airdrops for people interacting with it to show transaction history. You know, it's really just a cumulative type of thing where, you know, like I said, it should snowball effect. And at the end of the day, it's good. It's just good all around for everybody.
Yeah, no doubt. I couldn't agree more. And again, just to elaborate a little bit further, I mean, I know, you know, it's been multiple months now even that we released that first video showing the interoperable cross-chain swap. And so again, the tech does seem to be there. Everything that we have seen and built on, again, this isn't meant to create additional FUD. It's just that running a layer one is a giant undertaking. And, you know, to have this testnet in place really allows us to do everything that Jake just said. You know, not to mention making sure nodes are up, consensus is met, you know, everything is happening publicly and verifiably. You know, it's not just, you know, Web 2.5, where, you know, it's not necessarily an actual blockchain. So we're excited for that. I think that we can still deliver on everything. In terms of the rollout, I think it's super bullish actually, because again, like Jake said, it will allow other projects to build as well and do things that maybe we didn't even think of. And again, the more projects building on L1X, the better for all of us. Because again, the more utility and use case, the healthier the potential token price as well. And we've been busy. I mean, again, I know we've had multiple updates about L1DEX. You know, even though we haven't really been able to deploy on a testnet, we have all the, you know, front end is built, all the code again, as long as everything shapes up to be EVM compatible, which we don't see why it wouldn't be. I mean, we've been definitely making headway. Again, it's just there's a specific order that we have to do things in, and you know, having a functioning testnet, which we will now have with POX, Proof of X, I think that we can make a lot more headway in a very, very short amount of time and actually be able to show all of you the hard work that we put in. So, again, do you want to elaborate on that, Jake? Or, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly to follow up on that point. You know, again, like, I mean, you're right. We've been working, but you know, like because the tokens are not transferable, that means that you can't charge L1X for gas, right?
For sure.
Which that's the kind of the core of the issue, right? You know, so while we're able to deploy locally and you know, kind of start putting things together, you know, without running like on a live testnet that's one-to-one with L1X, with the mainnet, you know, it's really kind of a shot in the dark. You know, like I said, you know, some of the stuff we do is really complex and takes, you know, a lot of math to get right. And you know, a minor calculation that's off without being fully tested, you know, could potentially just, you know, break everything in, you know, one fell swoop. So, you know, that kind of goes back to just being able to, you know, actually get in there and start, you know, stress testing everything. Also gives time for audits and things like that we're going to try to be, you know, super, you know, particular about and make sure that gets done.
Yeah, 100%. All right, awesome. All right, Elliot, what you want me to keep going through just some of the bullet points of what's been done here? You want me to read through it? Again, I'm happy to do that. I don't know, you know, the best use in getting the info across.
Maybe we do some of these questions here now, the FAQs.
Okay, yep, let me move to that. Again, just to go over everything, and all of you can find this. This is the L1X SDK Getbook. But again, the developer L1X Getbook, you know, was now going to be, you know, wiki and development environment for developers, multi-node architecture. Again, making sure the nodes are up and running. I think L1X actually put a few more of their nodes up for sale as well. To again just make sure the more nodes, the more decentralized consensus is. So check that out if you missed the opportunity to get some nodes. The wallet library has also been updated. Again, moving forward with consensus and making sure that the EVM binary is available, so developers can continue to work. Open source all the contracts. Again, something we've been asking for a while, and I know it's a definitely a double-edged sword. Open sourcing proprietary code is a bit of a risk. I mean, that's what sets L1X apart. But I think that we're finally far enough along that even being able to open source that, people have to be able to build. So again, I think it's a compromise that had to happen for sure. So all right, developer GitHub and corresponding developer activity will also happen. So it sounds like the foundation will offer some assistance for any developers that are wanting to build on L1X and help them through that process, which again is super bullish. And then yeah, everything else we pretty much talked about. Marketing again, we'll have our own marketing. With L1DEX, we have, like Jake said, we have a substantial airdrop budget of our own, and we will be rewarding users, that are doing swaps and adding, into our balancer pools, sharing all of our socials. And again, I mean, if we would have launched tomorrow, not only would none of this been in place, but now it gives us an entire, it increases the runway to really make this as successful as it can be, especially in terms of L1DEX. So, all right, let's go to questions.
Okay. So how long will the POX phase be? The health of the protocol is of utmost importance, hence the decision to implement the POX phase based on the key takeaways from the community and strategic partner feedback. We will continue to listen to the community and strategic partner feedback to analyze whether the POX phase has achieved its goals regarding on-chain transaction and community adoption. Do you guys have anything else you want to add to the answer to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward. We, everything we're hearing is, and I think the official statement is mid-March. So that gives us again about another month to really nail everything down.
I'll just jump in quick too here. That's one of the questions I've been getting a lot too in my community. It's kind of this statement kind of seems open-ended, but from everything we've discussed with the foundation and working with their concerns and the community concerns, like I don't expect this to be like an indefinite pausing. I know the foundation really wants to get launched as soon as possible, and so do we. I don't think it's not like a matter of we need all these things to happen. It's more just a matter of once everything's live, at least for the core products that are launching with the chain, like, does everyone feel comfortable with it? Is the chain acting like it should? Are the audits being done? So I think AJ is right that sometime early mid-March is probably a good estimation.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think this might be a good time to make another point. I mean, nobody has more at stake or wants this to be a success than we do. I mean, we have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of development costs alone with L1DEX. Again, we didn't do a pre-sale. Obviously we want L1X to succeed, not only for us, but for our community as well. So I just want to make sure that everybody realizes, we have had many sleepless nights, trying to just make sure that we can convey everything that needs to happen from our perspective. Again, unfortunately, we're not part of the L1X team and can't make, the decisions ourselves, but we absolutely champion for a successful launch, the success of L1X and the success of L1DEX. And we've done that from day one, and we will continue to do that as we build out. So I want to make sure that that's said, publicly for sure. All right, awesome. You want to do another question? Go ahead, LA.
I think just the last one that we should go over is when will the testnet launch? And it says mark your calendars for February. More details about the testnet and the updated airdrop will be released very soon.
Yeah, I think so. Again, from what we're hearing, there is an official AMA. I believe it's 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow from L1X themselves. That would be a great AMA for all of you to tune in to, and there may be some more clarity on when the actual testnet will launch. But we're hoping within days, not weeks. And so the minute that it is live, we will be nonstop, testing and building and making sure everything is working as it should, and getting, a working product that we can demo to all of you, on actual testnet. I mean, we have Figmas and other ways of demonstrating what we built, but until it's on, the actual chain, whether it's testnet or not, it really doesn't matter. So that's the number one priority right now. Anything you want to add to that, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, again, kind of just back to my previous point. Everything builds off everything else, right? So as far as the testnet going live, like I know for a fact that Kevin and his team are making that a very top priority, because they realize that the testnet needs to get out in order for us to finish building and testing, and we need to finish building and testing so that we can start offering initial liquidity raises and stuff like that, all kind of leading up to mainnet. So I think I know it's been a little, even on our part, we've been a little stagnant in announcements and being in touch with you guys, partially just because we haven't been fully aware of the timelines and stuff like that. But like I said, getting down into this POX phase, it should all be pretty well defined. There's certain things we're looking for, testnet explorers, our beta launch, and then ultimately full mainnet. So hopefully we'll be able to be in much better communication with all you and kind of keep you guys on track.
100%. Awesome. All right, cool. Is that it for the screen share? And then we can go over some other notes, and then we have some Q&As of our own. And again, if any of you are listening to the live stream on YouTube, please feel free to ask questions in the chat as well. So, all right, let me go ahead and...
That's a good segue into our next talking point, which is to have the two of you speak about how these changes will specifically affect the DEX and what this means for the DEX moving forwards.
Yeah, so I mean, I can start, and then I'll have Jake kind of follow up with any kind of technical input. But I mean, I'm actually pretty bullish on this announcement in terms of the success of L1DEX. I mean, obviously, getting another month to build, again, do our own beta, actually be able to build on chain, make sure everything's working from a security standpoint. Like, again, Jake mentioned, that's always our number one priority. I mean, we have never been exploited, and really want to make sure we continue that. So, and as far as that goes, again, I think it's a great move. And I think more importantly than our own success is, again, what we mentioned earlier about other people building on L1X as well. Because, having the code open source now, at least having the repos and, an actual working testnet, that will allow other projects to start building. And the more projects that build, the better it is for everybody. So I'm bullish on that aspect. It really doesn't change anything in terms of our roadmap or timeline, other than just getting live. That the tokenomics are really not affected. We'll get into that a little bit more at the end with the new vesting schedule. But yeah, I mean, we are pretty much status quo on that front. Again, Jake, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like fundamentally, nothing really changes. I mean, the couple things that I guess we do change a little bit, and again, all positive, positive changes. Just the deployment of what we're able to offer, right? Assume like if we didn't get this phase, and L1X launched, in the next day or two, obviously we weren't prepared to just jump in head first and open everything up without fully testing it. So, you guys probably would have gotten like a real bare bones, slimmed down version several days after launch, as opposed to now, we can feel confident in whatever we end up releasing at the full mainnet, which should be a full featured product and not just a kind of wireframe bare minimum stuff just to get out there. So that's good for sure. And then also, like AJ mentioned, having the ability for other projects to develop, not only good for the ecosystem and to add bright pressure, but when AJ and I started just reaching out to part of our whole thing was partner projects and being able to consolidate liquidity across chains and bring people on. Some of those discussions, all of them were very positive to start with, but some tapered off quite a bit without having a testnet. Projects be able to build anything because they're basically just taking our word for it that's going to happen. Now with the ability for everyone to actually come on board, start building, people can start deploying their own contracts, and we may have other projects launching on L1DEX on day one, which will create more volume and fees and all that. So again, good all around.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And we, again, I mean, I want to leave some of the specifics to the L1X team and the AMA tomorrow. But, generally speaking, a lot of big centralized exchanges, they won't list you unless you have a testnet and you have proven that things are working. You have an explorer, you have everything that is above board. And so again, all of that plays into what we're doing and what we're pushing for, and ultimately it makes the launch of L1X even more bullish. So, again, I think it does suck to be delayed, and I know, some people are upset about the new vesting, which again we'll talk about in a minute. But overall, I think at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, and that is a safe, secure product, and for the token price to appreciate. And, not financial advice, and we're not trying to speculate here, but the more people building on the chain, the more user adoption of the chain, the more, marketing and KOLs or key opinion leaders that are talking about it, all of that is really, really fundamental to the success of a chain, especially a new chain. So, all right. Is there anything you wanted to cover specifically, LA, about that?
No, I think that was good.
Okay, awesome. Okay. All right. What is, I guess, what else can we cover here? Sorry, I'm all over the board. With the notes here, what's up next, LA? I'm sorry.
Did you want to go over the vesting and stuff, or should we leave that up to the L1X team and their AMA?
Yeah, so we can touch on it quickly. Again, I think it's more appropriate for L1X to go over that, but there is essentially anybody that did not that didn't buy at public sale. So if you were a seed round investor, the team, even the public sale, or the private sale that we did through EMP, all of you are now going to be forced to go into the XPERTS program. And so there is an additional vesting and cliff involved with that. So just be aware. As a caveat, you will be getting some bonus tokens. Even the lowest level, I think, is an additional 10% in tokens. So that is a bit of a saving grace. And as far as we know, again, we'll get more info on this, but you will not be able to use your staked L1X to go into the balancer pool. So you'll only be able to use whatever L1X you have vested out at whatever level you're in. So just be aware of that. Once we get an official statement from that L1X team, we can do another kind of update on what that means. And obviously, it sucks to have to wait a little bit longer. But I think with this new model, and again, this is a personal statement. I'm trying to be as objective as possible here, but I think even though the new vesting is a bit of a hit, I think it is way better in terms of selling pressure and not having, the typical dump that you see when millions of tokens are released on the market, day one. So I don't know if you want to add to that, Jake, but
Yeah, to be honest, like I think you're right. I think we need a little more clarification from the foundation on that. To be honest, guys, I haven't even I claimed my tokens a while back, but I haven't even looked at the XPERTS yet. My focus is just on getting a working product, and I feel like the rest will kind of figure itself out. I will just say this though, like I'm sure there's a plan for anybody who did already participate in one of the tiers, and even as even without specifically joining one of the bonus tiered packages on the XPERTS, there was still a vesting anyway. So I mean, it's whether it's 10 months or 15 months or whatever, like I said, the most important thing for me anyway is just making sure that the chain is safe and it works, and we'll all make it back on the product itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I completely agree. And, the goal with all of this is that we do see, again, we said in some of the AMAs, the average of a layer one that is successful, is a 42x. And so if we can control, or if L1X can control the amount of, tokens that are being released, yeah, it may, suck, but if we can see a lot more price appreciation, in that shorter time, even though you're getting less tokens, the end result is what we all want. And again, that's a personal opinion. You probably won't hear the L1X team say any of that. We're just trying to be, as transparent as we can be. But I do think overall, even though it sucks, it's a good move. And at the end of the day, it's about protecting the worst case scenario, because what the worst case scenario would be, other than the chain just not working at all, or the all the early guys that are vested or are not dumping. I mean, we don't want to see the token price go sub 10 cents and then it's game over before we even started. So it's a very complex thing. I mean, again, this is why blockchain is so difficult. I mean, there's a lot to consider, and it's very easy to armchair quarterback on what should have been done. But we're in the situation now, and we have to make the best of it for sure. Okay, cool. All right, I just want to add one more little thing in terms of us and our protocol specifically. That again, there's been some questions in chatter. When Fusion is in no way synchronized with the delay or launch or anything with L1X, L1DEX. So I know a lot of you are still waiting for Fusion to launch. We'll have some bullish updates on that. I may have my own question for Jake at the very end here. But yeah, we're moving forward with all that. I just don't want anybody all the conspiracy theorists out there, think that that's all part of the the master plan. But no, whenever L1DEX is ready and whenever Fusion is ready, that will be when they are launched. There is no other ulterior motives. So, all right, LA. I think that was all in terms of notes. Do you want to go into Q&A next of our own, or what do you want to do?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll go into some Q&A for L1X while we have Jake here, and then we'll
For sure.
move on to. All right, so let's hop over to Discord first. See here. And I just want to preface this by saying there's going to be some questions on here that we can answer, and there's going to be some that are so specific towards like technical things that the L1X team really should answer. So we'll do our very best to answer them. Alrighty. Okay, so regarding L1X, since private sale coins will be mandatory in XPERTS with cliff ending in June and public sale coins will be vested as well, it sounds like we will have zero access to our coins on MainNet launch. Is there going to be a way for us to get additional coins so we have at least some in hand for launch day as we wait on the rest of our coins to release?
Yeah, so again, we have been in touch, and I think it is even on the official GitBook that we just looked through, so we can talk about it publicly. But I do think there will be a bootstrapping event. I don't know, Jake, if you want to talk about that a little bit in terms of, getting into the pools. Obviously, we're still trying to champion for some L1X to be usable, especially if it's already been purchased. But if you're new and haven't gotten L1X yet, or the APRs in the balancer pools are so juicy that you want to add, we will have an option to buy L1X, right? Right, Jake?
Yeah. Again, this is everything's still kind of TBD at the moment, and again, the foundation really is going to have to give some of the final say on this. But yeah, the idea is once we're comfortable with everything on on Testnet, we'll open up our own little beta on MainNet early, at which point we'll have some kind of an early adopter type of liquidity provision event, for a short period before actual main opens up. And I'm sure you'll be able to buy L1X at that point. I don't know specifically. Like I said, I haven't really even looked at some of the new vesting stuff myself yet, but I'm assuming on launch, at least the bonus tokens I think will be available for you, and of course you'll be able to use those. Like I said, some of this we might have to have a follow up once we get a better handle on it, but.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and again, I mean, I think you're right. I think it is contingent on TGE, that's token generation event. So, once the chain is out of testnet and mainnet starts, that's when those tokens would unlock, and you could use those to potentially go into the balancer pools. And again, I mean, we unfortunately 100% of that decision is out of our control. So anything in terms of vesting or unlocking schedules, I would encourage all of you to champion for that along with us in the L1X Discord, for sure.
Okay, so here we go with another one. Since it is now mandatory for private sale to be in XPERTS, is there a document with simple instructions on the steps? We have to put all of our private sale tokens in XPERTS.
Yeah, so I know, and we can maybe follow up with this too. There's really some great articles. If you go to L1X Foundation website, there's 2 or 3 articles or blog posts rather, that walk you through it step by step. I also know on L1X, their YouTube page, I think it was Monstro or one of the admins, did a video tutorial as well. But the long story short is you will need to download the L1X wallet. It's a Chrome extension. Make sure you're using the right one and don't get scammed. You can find all the official links again in those blogs or on the L1X Discord. And we can post too. But you download that wallet and then you can actually confirm your allocation with MetaMask. So you'll sign a transaction that proves you're the owner of whatever wallet address you went into the public sale, or I'm sorry, the private sale with, or public sale for that matter. Or if you didn't do it through us, you can verify that you're the owner with an email as well. And then you will receive your tokens in your L1X wallet. And then you have to choose what XPERTS program you want to go into and how much of those tokens you want to go into with each program. So, if you wanted to have a longer staking period and more bonus tokens, but don't want to put everything in that, you could do half and half with, bronze. I mean, they got rid of bronze, I think, but platinum and gold or everything in one or the other. So it does sound confusing, but once you actually do it, it's really not that bad. So, and again, the L1X Discord, if you are having problems, their admins are pretty helpful, and you can always open a ticket if you're still not able to access your allocation. But yeah, again, Jake, you want to add to that? I know you've been so busy. I don't even think I think you just did it. But or LA, anything you want to add? Yeah. Stinky is our resident expert on this. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would just honestly, I would. There's no super rush right now because nothing's really happening.
For sure.
For another month probably. So I would just sit back. Let's wait for the foundation to really give some instructions. I don't think obviously it'll be on the L1Xapp.com, and you'll just find your tier. I mean, again, like I said, because there was a claim period prior to all this anyway. You would have had to do something with the token. Like even if you opted out of XPERTS, you still would have had to put them in to some type of vesting contract for the initial 15-month vesting. So there's going to be another step. I would just wait for everyone to get the real information from the foundation.
Yeah, 100%. I know another question that is relevant to that. Maybe it's in here and I'm jumping the gun, but if you don't, we still haven't heard from the foundation what happens if you don't make a decision. So if you, maybe you bought in and you haven't heard, or you forgot that you were in the private sale and you come back in a year from now, there will be some sort of, default for the tokens. We don't know what that is yet. So that will be a really good question for tomorrow's AMA with the actual team, and I'm sure they'll go over that for sure.
All right, we've got another one. Do we have any liquidity to sell a portion of coins on a peer-to-peer exchange? Is L1X coins still valued at 50 cents? There was talk in the past of the price going up to $1 in January with MainNet.
Yeah, so again, anything in terms of actual price, that's an L1X question. But we definitely toyed around with the idea of a peer-to-peer marketplace to avoid, the potential selling pressure. I think we're moving away from that now just because there is a testnet now, and then when the token goes live, that's it. I mean, we're a fully functioning chain at that point, and people can choose to buy and sell, through DEXs and SEXs as they wish. But yeah, and as far as the price at 50 cents, I mean, again, the only people that will have access to their tokens are public sale people and that is 50 cents that they bought at. So, I don't see people selling for less than that and taking a loss, but it is crypto, and we see people that need the money or whatever else. But yeah, I mean, and those are all my personal opinions. So we'll just have to see what happens. But and then yeah, I'm not sure of the dollar that was for an additional raise. That as the mainnet went live, but I'm not sure if that has changed now as well. So.
All right. Here is another one. Can we already run our full nodes during the test in February? Will there be a guide on how to set up the node?
Yeah, so again, I mean, maybe Jake can speak a little bit more on that, but typically, yes. I mean, in a testnet environment, that's also a way to test the nodes. So I would assume that that will be coming. If not, then definitely being ready for mainnet. And yeah, I'm sure there'll be documentation on that. Have they said anything in the developer chats about that, Jake? Or I mean, I don't think we have heard. Yeah.
Yeah, I did actually ask that question on our last call, and they said they would get back to me. Yeah, I mean that it would be great to have more consensus happening at that time and give people more opportunities to earn airdrops and things like that for use of the nodes. So yeah, I hope that's the case. But again, we won't really know that until we get live and hear from the foundation.
Okay, perfect.
I know we already touched on this, but I want to ask this person's question out loud. Is the relationship between EMP, L1DEX, and L1X still as solid as it was?
Yeah, I would say 100%. I mean, in terms of building, and that's something I was going to touch on at the very end. I mean, we've never been in a better position in terms of what dexCEO, his team brings in terms of development. I mean, we can build anything at this point, so that's bullish. And yeah, I mean, again, we have no reason to believe that anything fishy is happening with L1X. We support it fully, but it was a very hard stipulation for us to move forward that we have a testnet and that we can fully get behind, the chain. And so, they took that to heart, and here we are. So, I mean, again, I don't want to create more FUD. I mean, obviously, it's not a great situation, delaying and changing vesting, but in terms of the success and health of all of our protocols, this is the best decision that could have been made, I think. But I don't know, Jake, maybe you want to add to that, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think if anything, the relationships are stronger than in the past. It's obviously frustrating on our side not to have the tools, and it's frustrating for you guys not to see things coming to life. But yeah, there's been a lot of back and forth lately. They're taking our suggestions to heart, and at the end of the day, we're getting what we all wanted. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. So I'm just finding only the L1X related ones for now. Here's one for you guys. How do AJ and Jake view the changing of the rules by Layer 1X from the time of the private sale last March up to their announcement this morning, specifically focusing on the impact these changes on when we actually receive our L1X tokens and associated trust?
Yeah, so I'll start again. Personal opinion only. I mean, I think we've covered it pretty in depth. It's not obviously it sucks, but in terms of success and what had to be done, I think that's where we're at right now. And I think that, and with other in the crypto space, people can change the rules all the time, and we don't like doing that. We don't condone that, but sometimes that's the hard decision that has to be made. And even in EMP, and again, I don't want to speak for Jake, but I'm sure in his protocol, DEX Finance as well, there are extenuating circumstances where a pivot or an audible has to be made, and yeah, people are not going to be happy, but in terms of the long-term success, it's something that has to be done. So that's my feeling on the situation. And again, I don't know, you may want to plead the fifth, Jake, but go ahead, man.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'll just echo what you said. I mean, it is what it is, guys. Like, to be honest, I wasn't even really fully aware. Like, I'm just looking at some of the vesting stuff now, because honestly, I just don't even care. Like, the last week, I was super worried for this launch to happen because nothing was in place, right? Like, the testnet and the testing of the actual technology and the marketing and the market makers and the exchanges, and like there's so much that has to happen for this to be a success, that even if you got 100% of your tokens on day one, you're not going to make anything without liquidity, without working working chain. Like, it's worthless. You know what I mean? So in my mind, the first step is just getting the launch plan down, getting the technology tested, making sure it's safe, making sure it works, and then whatever happens with the vesting, I mean, you still got your tokens. It'll happen one way or another. And like I said, if it all works, then whenever the cliff is, whenever the vesting happens, those tokens will actually have value, as opposed to just dissolving or losing value overnight. So.
Yeah, totally. And again, I mean, as much as we have had sleepless nights, over the last few nights, making sure that everything was ready for this, and a successful launch, imagine the actual team, what they've been going through. So, and all of our conversations, again, with, Kevin, Machu, Mike, everybody at L1X, they have the best intentions to make this a success. So, I just want to make sure that that's said as well. That I think that everybody's doing the best they can to salvage a better scenario in terms of fully diluted value. Having a working product, making all the connections that need to be made, all of the above, for sure.
All right, a couple more. Listening to Jake explain the clear benefits of this testnet phase, why wasn't any of this done during the beta phase? More importantly, since this is water under the bridge, what confidence can we have this testnet phase will be over by end of March, when the beta phase was 6 months long?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll let you tackle that, Jake, but I think the short answer is, again, I touched on a little bit earlier, but there's a major difference between, a working tech, a working code base, and actually having that code base be verifiable and, on chain and under an actual testnet environment. And so beta was not testnet. So yeah, again, I don't know, Jake, this is your wheelhouse, but.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned bunch of times. I mean, we're not the foundation. I don't exactly know, why we didn't start a little earlier. Obviously this is something we've been pushing for a while. But again, water under the bridge. We have it now, or we will have it very soon, I guess. And as far as confidence level, I mean, look, we're all gonna be experimenting. We're gonna see how the testnet the one-to-one, live version of this testnet reacts. I will say this: they have it. There has been a testnet for a while. This was even out. The current testnet was out. Like even like in the like the early private sale phases. But primarily it was used with the internal dev team so that they could test, right? The difference now is a live testnet where anybody can actually publish contracts to the chain itself, right? As opposed to everything kind of being gate kept. And again, back to the confidence level, you know, I guess the best thing I could say is that whether you have confidence in the chain or not, we would like to think that you have confidence in us. And, you know, we're going to provide feedback. And, you know, again, we're not going to be, we're not willing to just put, you know, investor funds or our reputations on the line if it's not all going smoothly, right? So, you know, as soon as we get the testnet, like I said, we're gonna be on it. You can see, you'll be able to see things happening in real time. You can go see for yourself the contracts that we're deploying. You know, we'll be able to open up, you know, beta versions on the testnet of L1DEX, and we'll have a, you know, front end UI UX you can play around with, right? So, you know, you'll be able to start seeing progress in real time, and you won't have to, you know, you won't have to rely on anybody really to see. You know, to get that confidence, you'll be able to use it and see it in real time, and you'll be able to get, you know, airdrop rewards for doing so.
Yeah, no doubt. And this brings up one more really good point I wanted to kind of elaborate on, and I'm glad you reminded me, and Jake almost forgot. So to that point, you know, this is why blockchain was and is so powerful, is this verifiable open public ledger. I mean, that is what crypto and blockchain technology is. And L1X is trying to play a very, you know, walk a very tight rope of centralized and decentralized. And the centralized version and aspects are very powerful for user adoption. And, you know, their whole thing, again, Cody, everybody over there, you know, is so easy that your grandma can do it. And unfortunately, to make things that easy, there is a lot of centralized aspects that go into it. But at the end of the day, the chain still has to be open source, or at least able to be built upon, you know, and be decentralized. So I think that, you know, that may have led, or maybe one of the reasons why, you know, we find ourselves where we are right now. But yeah, I think, again, Jake, I don't know if you want to add to that, but I think that's kind of a little bit more background on where we're at too. So.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to the whole ethos of you know, crypto and blockchain, you know, in general. You know, and I get both sides of it, right? Like anybody who knows us, we are super protective of our IP. A lot of our contracts aren't you know, even verified, because, you know, we don't want to give our competitor a leg up when we know we have, you know, tech that's better than anyone else out there. And so I understand that's been part of the foundation's goal, to keep that, you know, protected up until the very last moment. But, you know, again, you know, from our side, from, you know, some of your concerns, that's kind of really what we've been pushing on is, you know, hey, at some point this all has to be open source. It all has to come to light. And that's kind of what we're getting now, right? Is you know, the opening of all the contracts, the chain, the testnet, so people can verify their own data on chain, right? And ultimately, that's what's going to be, you know, build a big successful blockchain, right? No whale's going to come on and just start, you know, bridging millions of dollars without seeing the transaction happen, you know. So you know, that's what we're getting now, and you know, we're just going to make the best of it.
Perfect. Yep. 100%.
All right, we have one more question from Discord. Will L1DEX launch at the same time with L1X in mid-March? How is it going to look like in the initial version?
Yeah, so again, that might be a question for Jake. We talked about it briefly in our developer chat today. The short answer is, if everything is EVM compatible, you know, that as it should be, and that process is seamless, you know, converting EVM to their own the L1X virtual machine, or whatever that process ends up being, then it could be, you know, absolutely ready. But if we run into issues with that, I think maybe obviously the goal is to be ready when the chain goes live because we want all that volume. So yeah, go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, honestly, I would say with a lot of certainty that we will go live when the chain when mainnet fully deploys. Um, to your point, AJ, if there's any issues with the EMV compatibility, then the chain's not ready to go live. You know what I mean? So these are things we're going to have to make sure that are addressed in testnet, which is why we're doing it that way. So assuming the chain works as it should, like you said, we'll be ready for it. And even further than that, like I said, this is why we're doing it. Assuming all goes well, yeah, we'll most likely launch prior to mainnet, at least in some capacity with a more live mainnet beta type of thing, and early liquidity bootstrapping.
Perfect. Yep. All right. Awesome. All right.
I want to
Yeah,
say
go ahead,
one thing,
Ellie. Absolutely, please. Yeah.
before we wrap up this segment of the AMA. I know that, not everybody was happy when they read today's announcement, but I do want to say a special thank you to those of you who have been especially supportive of our team specifically. I know that many of you recognize that we are separate teams and that we have to relay information as we're able to in conjunction with the foundation and as they release information. And I know that most of you realize that we are not the same team, and a lot of the decisions made were not made by us personally, even if we are fully behind them. And so I want to thank you for your patience and for your support in everything we've been sharing tonight. Because as much as we might receive the odd angry email blaming us for everything that they're unhappy about and not realizing that we're separate teams, most of you get it and are very supportive. So I just want to take that moment and say thank you for that support, for that patience, because it goes farther than you realize. So I just wanted to take that moment and say that, and just know that we are doing everything in our power to make sure that not only L1DEX, but the blockchain as a whole is going to be a success. We'll do everything that's in our personal power to move that along and make sure that happens, everything that's in our control.
Absolutely, could not agree more. And yeah, we pride ourselves on transparency. Unfortunately, some things, whether it's being an NDA or having access to the code that nobody else does. I mean, there is a lot of things that we still can't share, even though we would love to. But to Ella's point, I mean, we obviously have not only our best interest in mind in terms of the DEX, but all of you as well. I mean, we raised, about $3 million together, and really, want to have the success that L1X can be and that we think it can be, and none of that has changed. It's just the timeline has been, altered a bit. So yeah, again, I think that's very important to be said, LA. So great stuff. Jake, is there any other comments that you want to make, or any other questions from your community before we wrap it up?
I think that covers the bulk of it. We appreciate everyone being patient, and as soon as we have more info, we'll definitely do some more follow-ups. I would imagine we'll probably jump on with the foundation as well at some point here soon. We're just excited to kind of be on the right track here, and looking forward to next month or so.
Yeah, 100%, brother. All right, awesome. Well, again, if any of you have other specific questions, especially in terms of vesting or token price, or I would definitely suggest joining the L1X Discord. They will have an official AMA tomorrow, from the team themselves. I'm sure that will be a very long, in-depth discussion. Even more so than we just had. And again, feel free to share this video as well, to people that want updates at this point, there's no emergencies or no, things that have to be done, in terms of claiming or getting your token. So just the next few days, let all the information come out, and then we'll be giving a lot more updates as we go. And like Jake said a little bit earlier, as soon as we're able to start deploying on testnet, we will have a plethora of updates on our side, both marketing and development. I mean, we have about $30,000 of marketing that is already ready to go for L1DEX specifically. So once we're able to start, working and having things on mainnet and showing what the proof of tech or proof of X on testnet, that process will begin for sure. So, all right, awesome. I think that was super helpful and productive. Anything else, you guys, before we wrap it up for this part?
Big thanks, Jake, for joining us. That was very helpful, and it was great having you two go back and forth. I think that was very insightful to have you both here.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. It's been a while.
Awesome,
Gotta
brother.
get back
Yeah.
on the train.
Yeah, man. Well, and
Warm
before
up the
you,
vocals.
yeah, totally, bro. We had the AMA train starting all over again. But and before you go, Jake, we're gonna jump into our own AMA now. But I just want to say, and maybe you can, again, proof of life, that the devs are working, man. We have never been able to produce harder in terms of Sparkswap. I mean, we have some incredible updates coming with the farm migrations and the vaults. And we're also getting you guys more involved with Fusion as well. So I mean, yeah. Can you corroborate that statement? So, yeah, yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah,
man.
definitely, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, things have been in full swing. To the EMP community, I will fully corroborate. They have our full support, whatever they need for the development, development issues that we have to tackle. Things have been going remarkably well. If anyone's following Sparkswap, a lot of updates there. The vaults, that's a I didn't even think about touching on that, but farm migrations coming out in the next day or so. We just got the new farms on our development environment today, so I think maybe by the end of the week we'll have vault, we'll have new Spark vaults. And honestly, I was just going over just to kind of give you guys a little bit of good news. I was just looking at some of the transactions today, kind of working the numbers in my head with some of the APRs on Sparkswap. Like, I have no doubt that we're going to be able to push up real closely to that at least number 2 in volume on Pulse with these vaults. Some of the transactions are just crazy. 100 transactions every hour on a single harvest transaction. So that combined with all the other great products and APRs on Sparkswap, that's definitely going to be something to behold. And
Awesome.
that also helps all the other bots, the bridges, everything's going to be good.
Yeah, brother.
And yes, we have also been helping out with Fusion. I know that's a big one for you guys. So Jake's been doing a bang up job. So we're offering some support, but we kind of got in there and started cracking away a little ourselves to help with the front end, some of the other pain points. So don't sleep on Fusion. It's coming.
Yeah, brother. All right, amazing. I did not pay Jake to say that. So yeah. Again, we'll have. I mean, and we've said it all along. I mean, that's how development goes. It's months of very little updates, and then boom, it's here. So it just takes a while to get us over the finish line. And the DexFi team, is really been amazing with that. And I just want to say, Jake, it's been an absolute pleasure. You guys are the best in the business, and it's been, our teams have essentially merged with our lead dev, Jake, Chad dev. I mean, we have an incredible working relationship now, and we're killing it, man. And again, don't sleep on Spark. Again, that's a full-on collab, with EMP and DexFi, and we'll continue. Again, the success we've had at Sparkswap, we envision that same success on L1X, and that it ties directly in to providing, the Pulse liquidity when Pulse is interoperable with L1X. I mean, we have so much that we've planned for and built for. We just have to get there. So, yeah, I mean, the future is bright. Yeah.
Of course, man. Yeah, thank you, man. It's definitely reciprocal. It really does take a village in this day and age. So, we're well on our way, man, doing it.
Awesome, brother. Good deal. And again, all of that also feeds DexFi. So pick up some GDEX. It's actually up. It's up over the last week. So there you go, man. It's all coming together.
Yeah, we're starting our ascent here.
Yeah, man. All right, awesome, guys. All right, we're gonna move into our own AMA now. We'll let you go, Jake. Thank you again. And for any of you that want to share, we'll make sure we timestamp the beginning half for L1X and L1X specifically. All right, perfect. All right, LA, you want to go into the rest of the AMA? We'll try to make it as quick as we can, but we still have a lot to go over. So, speaking of Sparkswap, we have a new white paper update, right? You want to go over that?
Yeah.
LA?
Yeah, AJ and I worked last week on updating the white paper, and I finally made time over the weekend to get it all inputted into the beautiful PDF that our designer had originally made for us, and get all of it swapped out with the new writing that we finished up the other day. And so that's all updated on GitHub. And I've also put a bunch more of the contract addresses and stuff up there for all of our Sparkswap, DEX, LP addresses and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it was long overdue. It really reflected us at the beginning stages. And so it's something that had been on our list. But we were so busy launching different features and stuff, it had kind of continued to move down the list. So it was important to get that updated, and it has now been updated.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, you heard it from the horse's mouth with Jake a few minutes ago, but we are now moving on to testing the vaults in the dev environment. So we should have an announcement hopefully tomorrow. Again, that may change, so don't panic if it's another day or two, but tomorrow should be the first migration of the farms. We spoke about this many times. Now it's the same exact process. We've done 2 migrations now without a hitch. So it will be a pop-up on your home screen. You just approve the contracts and execute them, and the LP will be put in the new farm. Nothing changes fundamentally. It just allows us to be able to access the code in a better way that in preparation for the vaults and the auto compounding. So everything is under the hood, and nothing, no price impact or no additional fees. You will still be hit with any withdrawal fees once you eventually withdraw from the farm, but you will not be hit twice on migration. So, and we'll have a full update and post in Telegram and Discord, all of our socials, when it's officially live, so you can migrate yourself. But yeah, anything on that front, LA?
No, you got it.
All right, and then we have the AMA train kicking off again. Like Jake said, we had to warm up the golden pipes of our vocal cords. But yeah, lots of coverage coming, right, LA?
Yes, and the first one is kicking off tomorrow, actually. AJ is doing something really exciting. It's not necessarily the first one going to be super Sparkswap related, but AJ, you're going to be doing a fireside chat with the pillars tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'm excited to join Mad Hatter and David again. We have some really interesting topics. Again, like LA said, it won't be specifically about EMP or Sparkswap or L1DEX, but it'll be more about market sentiment and overall crypto knowledge. I mean, it'll be I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I think it'll be something super different, and I think it will be extremely valuable for the listeners just to get some more insight of where we're at. So yeah, definitely tune into
Mm,
that. We have a link, I think, or we'll post the link
yeah,
as well. Yeah.
I'm going to be posting that announcement after the AMA tonight, and that's just going to kick things off. But over the next 2 weeks, we have quite a few AMAs coming up with some of our favorite influencers and communities on Telegram and Discord and Twitter. And we're going to be really emphasizing the new vaults that are coming and our bridge and just our amazing protocol. So that's going to be really great for getting the word out and really taking this momentum we've been building and accelerating it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we have again just name a few. Well, I won't spoil the surprise, but we have at least two other AMAs that from Pulse influencers that you would know and that we've been on before coming up. So yeah, lots of great stuff. All right, awesome. Anything else about Sparkswap, LA?
I think that's it for that section.
All right, awesome. So the next part is about Monstro's Degenz. So as many of you already may know, the original Degenz ROI contract finished a few days ago. It was a little bit earlier than we had hoped for. However, remember, what made it different is that they plan to make everybody whole plus profit even after this phase ended. So, Elliot, you want to read that next section? About the rollout of version 1.5, and then I'll give some
Yes.
more updates. Okay, go ahead.
So they're rolling out a version 1.5 in on February 7th that everybody's balances will be migrated to. This version has some really great improvements and should allow you to continue to ROI. After that, if you have still not made profit, you will be issued another NFT and paid weekly. The original plan has not changed. Although the first phase ended a little bit earlier than we had hoped, this is still a great opportunity for some passive income as things progress. They're a trusted team that will continue to deliver. Your Spark Monster NFTs will still give a bonus in the next contract, and this has been a smashing success for locking up a bunch of Spark.
Perfect. So yeah, again, lots more info coming on that. I've been in touch with the team. Their 1.5 contract is super bullish, and you know, the farms or their version of farms has still been earning this whole time. So again, I think that's probably why this ended a little bit earlier, because rather than paying out everybody from the mining contract, they took a very heavy portion of that and put it into the yield farming pool, which again, I mean, they post their, if you follow their Twitter, they post what they yield every day, and the last few have been like anywhere from 0.5 to almost 1% a day. So that's about 5 grand a day at the 1% range that will be used to feed that contract, and that is why we got as a community behind this project so heavily, is because that is real yield. I mean, there is no Ponzonomics in that, and although it may take a little bit longer than we had hoped for, everybody will be made whole plus profit. So I'm super bullish on it still. Again, this is very different than your typical ROI contracts, and once 1.5 rolls out, I think there'll be a whole nother wave of interest. And even if you still don't ROI or get your profit in 1.5, then you can always just get the normal NFT that pays out weekly. And even those, I mean, I have a few of those personally, and you know, it's been a couple of $100 every week. So just don't write it off. Yeah, it sucks that the first phase ended, a little early, but we're still fully confident in the team and what they're doing. And at the end of the day, it's been a great success for Spark. I mean, like LA said, we locked up a ton of Spark. I think almost 50,000 Spark in Sparkler. So that was really, really beneficial. And their NFTs will still give you a bonus in the next phase as well. And we're looking for additional utility on those NFTs and some other NFTs as well. So, all right. Anything else with that, LA?
Nope. And it looks like the next section I accidentally already went over. So
Yeah, no, that's good. That was just about the pillars. Again, make sure you join us. It'll be called Crypto After Dark, and we'll be posting a link very, very soon with that, and you will be able to listen to the recording if you're not able to make it. But all right, and we're trying to move a little quickly here, so it's not a whole night of AMA. But another major announcement in LA. I'll let you handle this one as well with our affiliate link.
yeah.
Rabby, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, so I told the VIPs that I would include this again in our announcements because they discovered something that we hadn't announced the first time. And so I thought it was really neat. So, what we announced last week is that Rabby is rewarding through Rabby points, which they've actually hinted will mean a potential airdrop. And most people are saying that Rabby is just like an iPhone compared to MetaMask being like an old Motorola or like a flip phone.
For sure.
So,
Yes.
so it has some really intuitive features. And right now, there's an opportunity to earn points and help the EMP ecosystem because we do have a referral code, which I'll post in the chats. But what our VIPs discovered, which is actually really great, is that if you already are a Rabby user and you're not a new user, you can still earn the points and use the EMP referral code. You just open Rabby and click the star where it says Rabby points and then enter in EMP official as the referral code and hit claim and sign the transaction verification. The only caveat is that it has to be done per address. So if you have 10,000 addresses, it will be a labor of love, but it will be worth it to earn the points when they go to do the airdrop. So that would be pretty nice for you.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. And yeah, to LA's point earlier, comparing it from, the old brick Motorola phone or flip phone to the newest iPhone, it really is the case. I mean, I was very hesitant to use another wallet, especially, with security concerns and having a lot at stake. But using Rabby's been a dream. And it's easy to import all your keys and info from MetaMask. And then, what I love, there's two things I really love about Rabby, and one of them is it automatically detects what chain the website, whatever you're interacting on. So you don't have to change your RPC or chain for that matter in MetaMask, and it will also automatically choose the most, I guess, healthiest or fastest nodes as well. So I know we've been having a lot of issues on Pulse and BNB lately with nodes that have been lagging or transactions getting stuck. And then you have 100 pending transactions. You got to ramp up the gas fee, but then even that doesn't help. Well, if you're using Rabby, it seems that you've had a lot less issues. So both of those make it, well worth the price of, migrating over. And yeah, like Ellie said, the it's nothing official, but the speculation is that those Rabby points will lead to an airdrop, and obviously, nobody who doesn't like free money, for sure. So make sure that you are using our referral code and using Rabby. So, all right, awesome. All right, you want to do some Q&A, LA?
Yeah, and
Okay.
just one more note on that. There were people who were asking, how safe is Rabby? That it is created by the team behind DBank, which is obviously very well known. So, it is a trusted name.
For sure.
All right, we do have some more Q&A, so here we go. As L1DEX will have the revenue funds for Fusion, will the delayed launch of L1X, with the delayed launch of L1X, would it be possible for some of our EMP developers to spend some time on the rewards contract for Sentinel NFTs? I understand, however, the Fusion launch does not depend on the launch of L1X. Thanks.
Yeah, no, great question for sure. And yeah, I mean, obviously, so twofold to that. Number one, yeah, L1DEX will be a revenue stream to Fusion. So the short answer is, just like all of you that are getting a little bit, bummed about the delay, so are we, because, that will be a delay in the revenue. However, that doesn't mean that we can't continue to scale the revenue from Sparkswap and reward people in other ways at 100%. I mean, the development work, again, we were just hoping to get things moving for the Sentinel contract sooner than later anyway. So, yeah, we can definitely get that, move that up the priority list. Again, there's a list of about 50 line items that in terms of priorities. And so when one thing gets delayed or moved down, then the other thing moves up the list. So yeah, the Sentinel contracts are moving up the list. And yeah, we'll continue to do everything we can to feed revenue into Fusion. And really, again, like we said earlier tonight, I do think it's beneficial because, with the more successful launch of L1X and ultimately L1DEX, that means even more revenue or potential revenue that feeds Fusion. So, it's this never ending battle of, delayed gratification. Yes, it sucks to be delayed and to have, quote unquote, the rules changed. But in the end of at the end of all that, if it's better for revenue, better for token price, better for everybody, that's what matters. So, yeah, do you want to add anything to that, LA?
Yeah, I think you kind of said it all, so I don't know what else to say,
Okay,
honestly.
100%. Okay.
This one's more of a suggestion than a question. Spark contract suggestion for Sparkler. I've been building my position in Sparkler 3650 over several months and was wondering if we could true up the entire position to a single new 3650 position.
Yeah, so I read that earlier in the chat too, and I was thinking about it. I mean, that's potentially a really good suggestion. I mean, we've had some people ask a similar question, especially those that have multiple stakes and have to pay an increased gas fee for having more than 20 or 30 sparkler positions. So off the top of my head. As long as we're consolidating into one, wallet address that already owns those positions, I think that would be technically doable. I mean, we just gotta again find the dev time to do it. One thing that we can't do, which we've also had some people ask, if you unfortunately have been hacked, or you want to transfer your Sparkler stakes to another wallet, because we don't have access to those funds. That's not something we can do, but consolidating may be an option for sure. So I'll bring that up in our next dev chat and let you guys know.
Okay. So next one is 4 separate questions. I'm going to ask you 3 of them. The first one, I'm going to say this. I know that you guys love to ask us when Fusion. if you ask us a specific question to narrow down a specific date or time frame from us, we're not going to answer those style of questions. I think we've made it very clear that we're not going to commit to a very specific date or time frame at this moment, because we don't want to be accused of teasing or letting anyone down again. We're going to simply continue to be really transparent every step of the way as we have progress or details to share. That's what we feel is the best that we can do, and we don't want to upset anyone by saying one thing and then it not happening. And so if you ask us very specific timeline related questions to narrow down a date, we're not going to answer it. So I'm going to skip the first question. But the second question was, will the Sentinel rewards be up and running by the end of Q1? It says power up NFTs as well. Power up NFTs are paid every single week, so there's nothing that needs to be tweaked on that at the moment. And when we do have the DEX on L1DEX running, we would like to have it go back to daily. But as of right now, they're being paid out once every week, so there's nothing in regards to meet by the end of Q1 in regards to power ups. But AJ, do you feel that we can have the Sentinel rewards back up and running by the end of Q1? Is that something you're comfortable with addressing?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I would say yes, 100%. We don't like to kind of speculate on timelines, but that is something that is very important. And, obviously, Fusion is more important, but, with the delay on L1DEX now, like I said a minute ago, it's moving up the priority list, not down. So, yeah, I think that we can definitely make that happen. And, again, unfortunately, we had no warning, or had we been given a heads up that these decisions were being made in terms of MDB and that specific contract, we could have been working on it ahead of time and then had way less of a wait. So yeah, I mean, and again, that's not to just bring up old shit like a plunger, but it's about trying to really just move forward. So yeah, I would say I think within Q1, 100%, I would say, but again, we get in trouble all the time for that. But to Ella's point, though, when we say a specific date, that is the date, and that's why we do what we do, and we do everything we can, and we've never missed a deadline that we have publicly put a date to. So I just want to also make sure everybody's aware of that. When we finally do have a date, you better believe we'll be ready to roll. So.
All right. And then I'm going to combine question 3 and 4 into one question, because question 3 is based on a misconception on the answer to question 4. So, is Jake the only dev working on Sparkswap, Fusion, Sentinels, etc.? This is a lot for one dev. He seems overworked.
Yeah, so again, that was perfectly appropriate for having the other Jake, DEX Finance Jake, on earlier tonight. And the answer is no. I mean, the way that our DevOps work is that we have multiple teams. Again, there's a whole other team that was working on Fusion originally. Now with DexFi, we have a lot more support from their devs. I mean, there's just we've done everything we can to scale in an appropriate manner. Now, obviously, that means we have to manage a budget as well. Dev costs can be anywhere from 10,000 to 30,000 a month, depending on what we're doing. But all that being said, Jake, our Jake, not dexCEO Jake, I'm going to refer to him as dexCEO, so it doesn't get confusing. But our Jake is the top of the food chain, meaning even though other devs might work on contracts, unless Jake has had the time to audit, test, measure 1,000 times and cut once, then we don't release anything. And so, yeah, I mean, I would agree that he probably is overworked, but that is why we have been able to uphold, a flawless track record. And moving forward, we're doing everything we can to streamline that process where, our Jake is not doing, front end development or other tasks that are not, crucial to the safety or success of a smart contract. And now Jake will move into a role where he will be able to, review the code that's already been done and put his seal of approval on it. And that should definitely speed up the development time. But no, I mean, I don't know if we can put a number on it, but LA, I'd say, I mean, at any given time between EMP and Spark, we have 10 devs working at
Yeah.
once, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this. We have literally never had a more streamlined support system in place than we do now. I do feel like we've been talking about it a bunch lately, but if this is an indication that we haven't been talking about it enough, we'll definitely speak about it more if you guys didn't realize that we had been having this close relationship with the DEX Finance team and that we have this whole new team of devs helping us. But we have the ability now to be working on multiple projects at once because we have access to as many devs as we need to be working on Fusion, Sparkswap, and L1DEX all at the same time because it's not one person trying to juggle 3 balls. It's an entire force of teams led by the GOAT, aka Jake,
Yeah.
and other GOAT, aka AJ, and the other GOAT, aka CEO Jake. So,
Yeah.
3 GOATs, 1 team, pure magic.
Well, and what is that? What's a female goat? Is that a what are you, LA? We gotta call you the sheeptress. Yeah. So I
No.
don't know. Oh man. Oh. All right. Well, there you go. Now I got LA cracking up. But yeah, I agree 100% with all that. And there are some things still. Again, we've been extremely transparent about this. That are mission critical for Fusion, and those things are still, even with the development help. The nanny goat, yeah, that's what it is. There you go. I am. Oh
He's always
man.
wanting me to sound like an old lady. I don't know why. Do you hate me?
Oh my God, now I'm distracted. Oh man, that's hilarious. So, all right. So what I was saying is, in terms of hooking up all of our external contracts, i.e., Detonator, the nodes, anything that is plugged into Fusion, that is still something that Jake has to do because he originally built those contracts, and it takes more time and is a potential security risk to have other devs, dissect the code that they may not be familiar with, to try to make it work. So again, it is what it is. We're definitely trying to take some things off Jake's plate, and we've done an amazing job of that over the last few months. And that will all start coming together once we get through the enormous backlog of Fusion, and getting everything out as we move forward. So.
Awesome. There's just one more question from Discord. Why are you still giving lottery rewards for Detonator when it isn't sustainable?
Yeah, so again, I mean, that's part of the incentive to be involved in DOS contracts. I mean, I know a lot of people that have been trying to still go into, the lottery and compound, hoping that and speculating that there will be a full recovery, and then those people will have extremely profitable results, if and when the ecosystem recovers. So the idea is that the only reason that Detonator is not, sustainable, quote unquote, is that the pool balance, there's more sellers than participants. So with V3 updates, we hope that that will alleviate it. And, the lottery is part of the incentive, because if we got rid of the lottery, then that is a major, deterrent, or in other words, there's really not a lot of incentive to go into those contracts, because it's fundamentally part of how it works. So yeah, I don't know if you want to add to that, LA, but
I do, yeah.
yeah.
So if we were to get rid of the lottery and the largest depositor and the win it now and all of those things, and then we initiate this fusion sacrifice, and then fusion launches, and we're back at peg, and everyone's bullish, and we're peggy dancing, and the chats are blowing up, and everyone's feeling that height of excitement and bullishness, but there's literally no lottery, no largest deposit, no win it now. There's absolutely zero gamification or incentivization to ever deposit into Detonator ever again. And so Detonator is dead, even in the height of the protocol booming. Now, right now, even if things are down and Detonator and Reactor and those contracts are not looking so hot, like AJ just said, there's an intense amount of gamification possible. And a lot of people are playing it right because they know what's coming. They have the foresight and the vision to know what's coming, because been around long enough to know that we always back up everything we say we're going to do. And so remember that people started to claim more often than compound in Detonator because the entire bear cycle happened and the protocol was, not as glorious as it once was. And a lot of fear kicked in, and they saw other people claiming, and they saw the pool balance going down, and it started a fear cycle. And there are multiple cycles that ebb and flow in crypto. I think you all know that. And when a new cycle begins, which is a lot more bullish, there will be a lot of depositing happening. There'll be a lot of people fighting over the largest depositor again, people trying to win the lottery again. And all those features need to be there in order for these protocols, these contracts to continue on for years to come. And, if you actually do want to receive that 365% ROI, it's so important for these features to continue and for us to fine tune them with the V3 changes so that you can get your monies back from it and that 365 ROI when the protocol is booming again. Because we will want to encourage new deposits. We will want to encourage that gamification, that competition. And there's no reason to believe that people won't be excited about it again when everything's booming and they see how sustainable things are with fusion.
Yeah, I think again that was a great explanation, and it's fundamental to the gamification of what those contracts are. So yeah, I don't have any more to add.
All right. Well, 2 hours in, and we, I think, are all finished. And so thank you guys so much for hanging in there and sticking around with us. It's been a long one, but I think we got a lot covered. So we appreciate you guys for sticking around.
Yeah,
Remember to hit the like button before you leave tonight.
100%. Thank you, LA. Yes, you got me. I meant to do it earlier tonight, and of course, when we had the most viewers, I forget to promote the like button. But it's all good. LA got me at the end, so yes, like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, it was a doozy tonight, but I think that we had a great update for those of you. I know it's been a bit long overdue. But now we're finally at a point that we can talk about publicly what we've been trying to put together, privately for a while now. So, All right. Again, there will be hopefully within the next few days some or a day or hours. I don't know. It'll depend on our volunteers, but there will be some notes and timestamps of the AMA tonight. So that will be really helpful, especially if you see people asking about L1X and L1DEX. Please share this video, at least the first half. And really, that's a great way to get people up to date on where we're at. And please join the L1X AMA tomorrow on their own Discord and YouTube. That will also help answer a lot of the loose ends that we can't even answer. So, all right, I think that will do it. It was yeah, go ahead, Ellie.
Is it Tuesday Australian time, Wednesday US time, or how does that work out?
Yes, that is a really good question. I believe it is Wednesday Australian time, so it would be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
The opposite of that.
Oh,
no,
it
they're
is?
ahead of.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I think Tuesday Australian time, Wednesday US time, or possibly.
All right. Yeah. We'll post.
You'll know when you click on the event on Discord. It'll auto to your time zone.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. That's what I
and
do.
Math related stuff on the fly.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, join the Discord. It will be the pinned message, and yeah, US time Tuesday. So it sounds like it is Tuesday. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever that works out to be. So all right, cool. All right, I think that's it then. Again, thank you everybody. We'll have another update on Thursday. Again, we come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for being here. We love you all, and good night, good day. We'll see you on Thursday.